Hello and welcome to the 9th video in the series of learning C# for Unity game development. So in this episode we'll be covering switch statements, and what these are pretty much a more controlled version of an if statement. And so what they do is they take an integer and they see if it's equal to one of many values. So let me show you how it works. So the first thing to do will be to make an integer. So let's call it x and set it to 1. And then we'll make our switch statement. So put that in the start function. And so we use the keyword switch, and then 2 parentheses, and in between here we'll put our integer, which is x, and then 2 curly brackets. And then now we are going to make cases. So what cases do is they check if our integer is a certain value, and if it is, it'll run a certain block of code. So let's make 3 here. So we can do 0, 1, and 2. And there they are. And then, so if x is 0, it'll run this code right here. If it's 1, it'll run this, and if it's 2, it'll run this. So so these are more specific than if statements, and you want to use them if you know if x or your integer is going to be one of these values. And these can be anything, but I'm just using these as an example. So for example, if you want to store, say, the state of your player in an integer, you could use these. So if x is 0, then the player is maybe walking. And if x is 1, he's maybe attacking. Or if it's 2, he's talking. And so you can use switch statements to very easily define that. Let's check it out. So let's just put some log statements in here. X is 0, and then we can just copy and paste this because I'm lazy, and then we can just edit those appropriately. And now that we have that, it's important to put a break statement at the end here. So after your code and before the next case, you want to have a break statement. So let's put those there. So there we go. Now let's check this out. So it should say x is 1 because it's 1. And there we go. X is 1. So we can change it to 2, and it should run x is 2 accordingly. There it is, x is 2. And let's say we have it at like 5. Let's say it's not specified here. So we didn't give it a case, so it won't run anything. But if we want it to run something, if none of these are the case, pun intended, then we want to use a default. So we can just put a default statement there, and then we can do x is, and then we can just say it's x, and then we can break it. So let's put an exclamation point here so we know that this is running and not one of these. So it should say x is 5 here because we didn't give it a case, so it'll just go to the default. And there it is, x is 5. So those are case switch statements. They're kind of useful. You use them every now and then. In the next episode, we'll be covering functions, and those are pretty fun to work with. So see you then.